Welcome, everybody. Hey, my name is Roger Pascal. I am the CEO of Real Impact Training Systems. For those of y'all that might be new to the call, at Real Impact, we improve the quality of people's lives through real estate investing. Throughout several locations in Texas and Oklahoma, Real Impact provides the local investor with networking, educational material, and educational meetings that we have. Our locations are franchises owned and operated by seasoned investors that we call Impact Master Trainers, or IMTs for short. In addition to our monthly meetings that we have workshops. Our IMTs also provide a variety of one-on-one mentoring that can help you no matter where you're at in your real estate investing journey. If you're interested in learning more about our training options, please reach out to one of our Impact Master Trainers. You can find them on the IMT button and contact them online at realimpacttraining.com, or if you're on YouTube, we have a list of our locations and where they're at below this video. And you just got to, just click on the location that you're looking for. We'd love to see you at our free monthly meetings. And in a few minutes, we're going to bring in several of our IMTs, Impact Master Trainers, to be joining us on tonight's call. Our call tonight we're going to be talking about auctions, HUDs, VAs, REO properties, and tax sales. But first, we're going to open this up with bringing in Mr. Eric Short. And there he is. Hello, Eric. How are you doing?
I'm well. Can you
Eric
hear me?
Short is our Impact Master Trainer in Grand Prairie, Texas.
Good
So what do you
evening.
have for us today, Eric?
Well, you know that opening sequence with the music and the locations and the just the catchy song that's playing? Sometimes that could be like, yeah, that. It's like an earworm. Sometimes a person can get an earworm, and this guy got an earworm, and he went to a doctor and said, "Doc, I've got this song stuck in my head. I don't know what to do." And the doctor said, "Well, what's the song?" He said, "It's What's New, Pussycat? What's new?" Right? And the doctor said, "I think you've got Tom Jones syndrome." And the guy said, "Is that common?" And the doctor said, "Well, it's not unusual."
Oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah, there we go. Another warning from our Facebook post, right? So all right. Eric, thank you so much for opening up with that. We love our little funny things that we have in the beginning of our meeting. So Eric, he's my guy on that. So, but this week we're gonna have the tip of the week by Tal Wynn. Tal Wynn is our Impact Master Trainer in Oklahoma City. Her and her husband David have that franchise up there, doing phenomenal work up there. So Tal, tell us about the tip of the week.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Roger, for the great introduction. I hope everyone have a blessed Sunday so far. So as you know, the topic tonight is auction, and buying property at a foreclosure auction is one of my favorite way to buy property. Therefore, I am so excited to share with you my tips. There's so many things that you need to know involving buying at an auction, but I'm just gonna touch on 4 of them, and I think that are very, very useful. My tip number 1, you got to know the market. You have to determine your max bid before you're attending the auction. So you need to do your homework first. You know the market, know the neighborhood, what similar homes typically sell for. It's help you prevent you from overbidding. Your max bid also depend on your rehab cost, right? So it's come to my number 2 tips, that you have to inspect the properties. Of course, you need to inspect the property yourself or with an inspector, but so that you can get a good estimate of the rehab cost. If you are not allowed to view the property, at least You have to physically drive by it and observe the exterior structure to see if it's vacant or occupied. Don't just look on Zillow only because you might be only bidding on the land only. The house might have burned down. So that's my tip number 2. Tip number 3, you gotta learn because every auction is different. So you have to learn and be clear of the bidding rules so that your bid will not be counted as invalid. So is it an increment of $500 or $1,000? When do you need to call the bid? How do you call the number? So there's some sheriff very typical. You're not allowed to say 71.5, but you have to say 71,500 in order to be counted as valid. And also, I would sit or stand on the front row so that I can hear it clearly and can be heard clearly too. So that's my number 3. Last but not least, you have to stick with your predetermined max bid because, no emotion, just number only. You need to be aware that you're purchasing the property as is, where is, no contingency. So don't be emotional. You don't follow other people's bids or try to win over other bidders. Other people may bid at a higher number than yours, but they may have a different purpose for the property. Some people might buy to live in, or they can fix it up themselves, so that bid may be higher. So keep your number. Remember, no one can buy everything. So if you're consistent and persistent, you will be able to buy at your price eventually. So those are my tips of the weeks, and good luck. I hope you found
Oh,
useful.
wow, that is great. I love that. That is, I think in this business, if we're in this business long enough, we're always seeing people doing some really weird things. I was at an auction in Fort Tarrant County one time, and this lady was paying like 10 times the value for just a lot, just an empty lot in town. And the auctioneer kept, 2 women were bidding against each other. And the auctioneer kept stopping and saying, "You do understand there's not a structure on this land, right?" And I mean, he was great, and they got it. I don't know if they actually kept it or what they did with it, if they bailed out or whatever, which is not ever a good idea. But thank you so much.
Yeah.
Y'all do a lot of auctions up there, right? You go to a lot of
Yes,
courthouse sales?
we go every 2 weeks. Every 2
It's
weeks.
every 2 weeks?
Every 2 weeks.
Wow. In
Yes.
Texas, we're just once a month in most counties, or in many counties, not most. So that's a little different than what we have here in Texas. So that's good to know. I didn't know that. All right, CJ, let's bring everybody on board. Dennis, welcome. Karen, welcome. Eric, welcome. Pam, welcome. Doug and Renee, welcome. Tim showed up. There we go. he got. Well, we're not alphabetical order, I don't think. So I'm trying to figure out how that works. So there we go. All right, welcome everybody today. We are excited. This is a great subject that we go through all the time. It's buying at auctions. There's multiple different types of auctions that are out there. We're going to talk about that. HUDs, which is a FHA foreclosure, owner-occupant foreclosure for the most part. Those are HUD sales. It's a little different you're not buying those on the courthouse step. VAs, Veterans Administration loans, are similar to HUDs, but they have their own little category there. REOs, we have the REOs out there that are real estate owned properties. That's bank owned properties. So that's what we call an REO. And of course, as we were talking a while ago, or Tal was talking a while ago, sort of on tax sales and how that works. And we have a couple of extremely good tax sales experts here. We have some great experts here on standard foreclosures. Have been doing these for decades. So welcome everybody on board. Karen, you're our facilitator, top center. There you are. And Karen has a few questions that we have.
Yes.
So welcome everybody, and welcome Karen. I don't even know if I mentioned your name a while ago when everybody was coming on, so I'm sorry if I did not.
You
did I? Okay. Good. All right.
You didn't miss me.
I didn't miss you. All right. Good deal. So Karen, we got some questions tonight. So tell us, kind of go over where we're at with those and what we're doing.
Okay, well, our first question is from Shelly. She asks, what's the difference in REOs, tax sales, and the multitude of auctions out there? And Pam, would you feel comfortable answering that one for us?
Sure. So in Texas, we're different than they are in Oklahoma and in a lot of places. And one thing that you need to understand, in Texas, we are a non-judicial state, which means we do not have to go to the courthouse to get the judge's approval when it comes to foreclosing on property taxes and foreclosures by the bank. So in REO, the question is REO, those are bank owned. Those are foreclosures where you go to they're at the courthouse. And everything. And we have two different sales on the same day. In Texas, it happens on the first Tuesday of every month. Rain, snow, shine, it doesn't matter. They're going to have it. I've been when it was icing. There was not ice. Now they've got a little bit better about it. If the weather's really bad, they'll postpone it till the next day. But rain does not stop a foreclosure or the property tax sales here in Texas. The tax sales, those are the property taxes. People do not pay their property taxes. And what you're going to find is, it's people that have inherited property, older people, I shouldn't say older people, people, their mortgage may be paid off, but their property taxes are so high that they've just not had a chance to be able to afford them and pay those. And I think we're going to see quite a few of those coming up here in the near future, more than we are on foreclosures. Auctions, you have all kinds of auctions. Like Roger said, you have auction.com, which auction.com is also a part of the foreclosure, but they have their own website. So when what properties do not get closed at the courthouse, they go back to the bank. And then the bank sometimes lets auction houses, represent them. Auction.com, HUD. HUD is a real big one for conventional and the Freddie and Fannie Mae properties. So those are your different type of auctions that you have. Roger mentioned FHA. That's the HUD home store. We're not seeing. I check all the time. There's nothing on HUD home store right now because property values are more than. There's no reason for an FHA to go to foreclosure, but that's a different story. So there's our different ones. You have in Texas, we're different because you can foreclose on a property in 21 days. So if you're an owner finance person, you will see more of those at the courthouse right now than you are going to see at the bank owned. So just FYI. And you can catch me. I'm usually there the first Tuesday of every month, either at Denton or Tarrant County. In Dallas, our property taxes have already gone online. And if it works out, you're going to see a lot more going online than being at the courthouse. So
you mean by tax sales online?
Yes. Dallas County tax sales are online now.
Yeah. How does that process work, Pam?
You have to sign up. You have to show the money that you have. It's going to be deposit. It doesn't have to be deposited, but you have to verify the cash that you have to come. They just started it, so this month is going to be the first for property tax sales. I see people are talking about it's cheaper to start doing foreclosures online than it is at the courthouse because you don't have to pay all the trustees. People don't understand how expensive trustees can be.
All right.
Very good.
All good information.
Yeah. Excellent.
All right. So our next question, I'm going to transition over to Tal because she's in Oklahoma. And so theirs is a little different than ours. So Tal, Jonathan asks, do I have to have all cash when buying at the sheriff's sale auction in Oklahoma?
Thank you, Karen. That's Jonathan. That's a really good question. So with the tax sale in Oklahoma, yes, you do, but that tax sale is only once a year. But I go to sheriff sale, which is on every 2 weeks, and every county do it every 2 weeks, and that way I buy the most. So once I win a bid, I will have to submit 10% of the bid within 24 hours to the courthouse. The courthouse only take cash or cashier check. So of course, this is the amount of money I usually should have, on hand ready. Um, in Oklahoma, the confirmation of the sale shall be scheduled 3 to 4 weeks after the sale day, like the auction. So you have that 3 to 4 weeks to find you like a lender. So this is where banking relationship come into the picture, because I, back then because it's not a typical closing with the seller because an auction. So back then my favorite bank has never closed sheriff sale before. So I found a title company that would issue a title commitment for the sheriff sale for the sheriff sale property, and the bank agreed to do drive-by appraisal only because we're not allowed to get inside the foreclosure property anyway. That's why. So because of our relationship with the bank and with the knowledge that we know, so we was able to get the bank to fund us just like a normal transaction. They fund us 75 to 80%. So when I close before the confirmation, I go to the title company, I sign the loan, I close with the title company, but the bank would give me a cashier check, make it out to the courthouse, and I just bring that check to the courthouse and pay into the courthouse before the judge signed the order. So this way, I don't have to have all cash. I can just have my 20% just normally, when like a normal tradition transaction. So I was able to leverage the bank with the sheriff sale. So that's kind of nice.
That's great. And that's because Oklahoma is a judicial state, correct? As Pam was
Yes.
explaining earlier, Texas is a non-judicial state. So y'all have to the judge has to sign off on the approval to sell the property to the winner.
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes.
Good
Yeah.
information. Good information. And that also goes back to your tip of the tip of the week that you said, be prepared and know what the process is, because Doug and Renee, the next question goes to you guys. What about here in Texas? So I know it was different when I went with you guys. Oh, you guys are on mute.
It wasn't me. Oh,
There
he
you go.
did it already.
Okay, there we go.
All right. So if you're talking about tax sales, then you got to bring all the cash. Well, actually, you don't bring cash. You bring cashier's checks to most counties. It's a madhouse. 254 counties in Texas, and not all of them have a tax sale every single month. Some will have one every other month. Some will have one a quarter. You just never know. So you have to just track it. You look at the attorneys' websites. That's who hold the tax sales. In some counties, you pay the sheriff. Some counties, you pay the attorney that's holding the sale.
Yeah.
But you have to bring the cashier's check in full. So the good news is that it's not pennies on the dollar, but it's quarters on the dollar most times. And the cash that you bring, I mean, you can get that. It could be your cash, which I don't really recommend. I recommend finding a private money somewhere. You can use partners. We have a couple of lines of credit in case we really need to get that today, and we have that available. We usually transfer that into our bank if we know we're gonna do a tax sale. Another interesting thing, you can't go in these. Well, you can't go in these. You're not supposed to go in these houses and look at them. And they'll tell you, don't trespass. Well, I don't. If
I do.
If there's nobody there, I won't. I'll go in. I'm talking about if there's nobody there, I won't go in. If there's someone home, I'll knock on the door. So it's a fallacy that you can't take a look. You can if they're home, and if they'll let you in. So a lot of times I'll knock on the door and say, "Hey, we just noticed that your house is on the tax sale." If they're not angry with me, we may strike up a conversation. And a lot of times we'll get in. We just talked to a lady not too long ago about her situation. So you may even be able to buy it before the tax sale, which is great.
Always better. Pam, follow-up question. So when buying like at the sheriff's sale here in Texas, how do you go about funding that?
We seek private money. Also, the Roddy Group, they provide funding now for projects. So, like I said, and you have to have majority of the trustees here in Texas will not take cash. They want cashier's checks. So, because you have to understand the trustees are responsible for all that money. So if they have, dollar bills, they have to be accountable for all of that. So it's easier for them to be accountable and be able to deposit all that money with cashier's checks instead of cash. I have a question for Ty up in Oklahoma, because this was said. So Ty, when a property on the tax sale, when you're a judicial state, so does the property have to go through once the property is foreclosed on, then it has to be approved by the judge, or is it approved by the judge before it goes to the courthouse?
So tax sale is a little bit different here in Oklahoma. Tax sale, which means it's only happened once a year, in June, every June, and it's only happened once a year. And that tax sale is that the owner have owed tax more than 3 years. So it's on the list of tax sale, and they start the bet for the amount of tax will owe to the court. That tax sale, you have to have cash on hand. So so every auction, they wait for you to pay the money into the courthouse before they start the next property. So that's meant that the tax sale can last like a whole week.
Wow.
And it's happening in every county at the same time. So maybe I go to this county on Monday and then I go to the other county on Tuesday. I have to look at the list and kind of like coordinate, But tax sale, it's a little bit complicated. So I don't really do much of tax sale every year because most of them is lane. Most of them are lane, just not a lot of good homes. So I usually do sheriff sale, foreclosure auction, and that's happened every other week at every county.
Okay,
no wonder you guys are so busy.
But on that, because I want to make sure that everybody understands this, because in Texas, because we're non-judicial, it goes through a trustee. So all the properties are just auctioned off at the courthouse at one time. And the reason I'm saying this is because there was a statement that was made, and everybody needs to understand this. So when you're going to Oklahoma and you're at the courthouse, is it going through the judge and it has to be cleared by the judge, or is it already cleared by the judge and then they're auctioning it off?
So once the property make it to the sheriff sale list, it's already clear for the judge to be foreclosed. However, the owner still have until the confirmation day, which is about 3-4 weeks later, to redeem their home.
Okay.
So on that auction day, that can be sold at the auction day, but then the owner still can find the money, whatever it is, to to pay it off, and then can redeem the house back. But on the confirmation day, if they just sign the order, then it's done. So they have to they lose the house at that time.
Okay.
So yes, and then that would be 4 to 6 weeks before the auction. So when they file the lawsuit to foreclose, it takes about 4 to 6 weeks for a property to make it to the sheriff sale list to be sold at the auction.
Okay.
Would that answer your question, Tim?
Mm-hmm. You see, y'all call your sheriff sales foreclosures, and in Texas, our sheriff sales are the property taxes.
Oh, that's why you got confused. Yes.
Yeah, that's the reason why I wanted to make sure everybody understood that and everything, because that's a big difference here.
Yeah, Oklahoma sheriff sale is a foreclosure. Yeah.
Thank you for that
Renee has
clarification.
a question.
Go ahead, Renee.
Yeah, just a quick question, Tal. You mentioned the redemption period was potentially 3 weeks. Is there any other additional redemption period? Because in the state of Texas, when you're talking about tax sales, where those people have not paid their taxes, it's a different redemption period. Can you tell us a little bit more about how that works in Oklahoma, and then Doug can explain ours in just a minute in Texas?
Sure. Yeah, that's a really good question, Renee. Actually, it's not really a redemption period. So when a bank forecloses a property, they already send multiple notice and all that. So it takes about 4 to 6 months, for the judge to agree to put the property for the auction. So they already have that much time to pay it off or redeem the house. And like I said, if it's already be sold at the sheriff sale, then they only have that 3 to 4 weeks before confirmation to redeem their homes. And then once it's sold, and it's done. The tax sale, yes. What I was told that even though so if I buy a property at a tax sale, I do have a couple years. No, the owner do have a couple years to redeem the house back. And that, so if I buy a property at a tax sale, I have to do quiet title. I don't know if you have to do that. Yeah. So, but here now, I would get a sheriff deed. So it's just like a deed, it would deed over to me, notarized by the sheriff. So I own the house legally after the confirmation. So no more turning back, no redemption.
No refunds.
Yes.
Doug and Renee, do you guys want to explain how the Texas redemption period
This
goes?
is specifically for tax sales, not foreclosure. So this is tax sale related.
If the property's homesteaded, if it has a ag exemption, or if it's a mineral, then it's a 2-year redemption period. And the thing is, though, if they redeem it, they got to pay you what you paid plus 25%, and that includes rehab. I mean, but only if you have to do it. So yeah, you have to maintain, keep, and protect. I don't remember the 3 words, but it's in the law. Otherwise, it's not. It's 180 days. So the only problem is most title companies won't even give you title insurance till 2 years anyway. So there's a few that can do it, but.
And you can also, they can also redeem up to the 2nd year, but starting at the beginning of year 2, it's 50%, not 25%. Yeah. So it gets really, really expensive. The likelihood that they're going to redeem in that 2nd year is very slim.
Okay, well, thank y'all for that information. All right, our next question is for Tim. Tim, who have you seen bidding on properties at the courthouse steps?
Hey, Karen, thanks for that question. Yeah, and it's kind of interesting. We think that we're just going to see regular individual investors like ourselves. However, I've been to a tax sale where actually the person that won was a proxy for a Wall Street hedge fund. And something that I learned when I asked about that was that the hedge funds, they like to get high and safe returns. And so they've been investing in commercial property for years and years. And then what happened to all the commercial property in Chicago, New York, and everything when we had the lockdowns, right? It was all vacant. And so they couldn't get the return on capital on commercial office buildings anymore. So what they did is that they hired people all over the nation to go to local tax sales and bid for them and buy single family houses. And so so kind of the moral of that story is a lot of people ask me, well, shouldn't I invest in commercial property, or shouldn't I invest in apartments or multi-units? And somebody much smarter than I am said, follow the money. And there's the smart money on Wall Street, which are the hedge funds, and then there's everybody else, right? And if the hedge funds are investing in single family houses, then where do you think we should be investing?
Very true. All right. Okay, so I'm going to take this next question. Kelly asks, what are the benefits of going to auctions or tax sales if I don't have the money to buy anything? Well, I'll say, to go along with what Tim said, I met cash buyers. Number one, if they're there at the auction and they're bidding, they're a cash buyer. We had the opportunity to strike up great conversations with them to see where they're investing and why they're there, what they're bidding on. Of course, most of them will be, hold close to their chest what they're actually bidding on, but they'll tell you what they're looking for. If they're an individual, of course, like someone mentioned earlier, sometimes it is a person that's trying to live in that house that's bidding on the house. So that's different than an investor. And there's all kinds of reasons people go and bid on the houses. But we're looking for, if they are there and bidding on a property, they're likely to be private money. So go talk to them, go introduce yourself, build that relationship. We've been talking about relationships all month, about the importance of building relationships. And you can get, great partnership opportunities there. Great JV partnerships. They may become a buyer for one of your properties in the future. Or, if somebody else is there, maybe you could work out something else with them where it makes sense for you to work with them and go do properties together. So there's just, it's a multitude of experience and just watching and learning. And I found it exhilarating. I thought it was really, really cool. So don't discount that just because you don't have the money. Go watch it and go see how it works and watch how they do things and learn to go find the properties that are going to be auctioned off and go, like they said, do your research and determine your maximum bid and go buy a property. Don't be shy. All right. Anybody want to add anything to that?
Doug.
Go ahead, Doug.
Yeah. So someone asked, what kind of people do you meet at the auctions? I've met attorneys and landmen.
Bankers.
Boy, those guys are loaded. Oil men, they're buying mineral rights, hedge funds. And in the old days in Dallas, you had the people south of the border would come in and move their money also. So not so much anymore.
That's true. That's absolutely true. Yeah, because we met a judge, right, Renee? We met a judge at the one in Marshall. So and
Oh yeah.
and other realtors and other, it's just great. And just have your business cards ready and talk to people, tell them what you do and listen to them, find out what they do.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. Our next question is for Eric. Eric, John is asking, how can I line up the money
Oh, that's a great question.
to pay for it?
How can I line up the money? That's a great question, John. And that's a question that a lot of people stumble with at first. A lot of people want to use their own private money, but they go through that pretty quickly, and they learn not to do that. There are things such as hard money or thrifts. You could partner up with other folks. Some people go through traditional mortgages, and they use that. But there's a limited number of those that you can have under your own name. Small banks are a good place to go to and develop a relationship with. Open an account there and go talk to one of the loan officers and get to know them. They will often work with you in a better fashion that the large Bank of America, Wells Fargo, et cetera, will do. They're much more personal. And if you use them often, they get to know you. Various things like credit cards, lines of credit can often be used for short-term purchases or repairs to a house you may be wanting to flip. So there's a lot of different things. You can go to the buyers, the end buyer, where you're aiming to sell the house, and that's another option. Private money, sometimes private money is a great way to go. And if you have a script, there's money all around you that you may not even be aware of. A script such like, hey, and it might be a person you know. This might not be for you, but do you know anyone who might have a 401k or a self-directed IRA? The money's just sitting there not doing anything for them. Most people are not happy with the return they're getting on accounts such as that. And then you can ask, well, would you like to earn more than the 2 to 4% it's making, maybe 5 plus, in an investment that's secured by real estate? And that way they know that if it goes sideways, it's secured by real estate. All the money that you need is available to you. You just need to look around and understand where it is.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Eric, for that. I want to throw in lines of credit. Often, you can have a revolving line of credit at your bank. And like I believe it was Doug and Renee said that they'll just move their money from their line of credit to their account. Because I know sometimes it takes a little while to do that. And when you're bidding on an auction, when the tax sales or anything like that, and you need that cash like immediately, you got to be able to access it fast. So moving it over, and then if you don't win, I guess you put it right back, because that's the lessens the time that you're having to pay the interest on it. So go ahead, Doug.
I have something. So if you want to learn about the money skill and finding, especially finding private money, in August, sometime in August, we're going to have a speaker in, Alan Cowgill, and he is Mr. Private Money. So you can learn the skill. I mean, you can learn the skill from us, not right now, but you can come to that meeting and get that information.
I think you guys might be breaking up just a little bit, but yes, we're going to have Alan Cowgill here in August. Date to be determined. Thank you for that, Doug. Okay, Roger, next question for you, please, sir. Robert is looking to buy liens on houses. What research should you do before you bid?
Well, very good. Texas is a deed state. Now you can have second liens on property. You can have first liens, but so you don't own the property by owning a lien. You own the property by owning a deed. So you definitely want to be educated. Everybody that's on this call is a active investor. Everybody on this call has made multiple trips to various types of auctions and foreclosures, and have worked with HUD houses and VAs, et cetera, et cetera. We all pretty much wind up at the courthouse pretty much every month. Obviously, Tal is going twice a month in what she's doing or more, because some of those are laid out or drawn out a little bit. But I want to tell a real quick story about a recent transaction that we experienced, and it's a short sale I'm working, and the primary mortgage is the one I'm working the short sale through. The secondary mortgage or secondary lien was a HELOC, a home equity line of credit. The bank that owned the HELOC, which in this case happened to be Bank of America, went to sell that HELOC on the courthouse steps, or as we consider the courthouse steps, as a mortgage lien foreclosure. The gentleman who bought that lien did not do any research, did not have an education. He wound up with an education, but he did not have an education at the time. And it was a $47,000 lien, I believe it was. And he paid $195,000 for that. And then the way that works is it does not pay off the first lien. It pays off the second lien. In this particular case, there was an IRS lien on the property, and they're paying off that IRS lien with that $195,000. And then the homeowners is going to get the cash in return. It's going to wind up with the cash, which is in the six figures, over $100,000, is what she's going to wind up with, because the gentleman did not do his research. There are title companies out there. If you're buying a property that will do a title search or research on it for minimum dollars, I think about $100, that they'll pull that pretty much the day of the sale or the day before. But like I said, it was an education for him. I don't know what he's going to do. I've tried to reach out to him last week, or I guess this last week, and he's not answering his calls. He's not returning his voicemails. He's not returning his emails. So he's off the radar. He was very upset that he did not buy the property, and he took the seller to court to evict her. And the court said, "You can't evict her. You don't own the house." And so that was his education on that basis. And so in Texas, you want to know that Doug and Renee do a lot of tax sales, and sometimes if you don't do your research, it's only going to have the taxes up to a certain year, and all the taxes after that period of time, you're not going to pay for when you buy that tax sale. It's still owed taxes for the last 3 years or something on that basis. Pam, you got a figure?
Yeah. Whenever you finish, I want to add.
Oh, you're good. You're good. Go ahead.
You also need to realize too, when you're doing your due diligence, 4132 Main Street in Grapevine, Texas is not the property description. That is not the legal description. In Texas, it's by meets and bounds and blocks and
parcel numbers.
Yes, parcel numbers. And so when you get to some of these, sales and everything, you have your trustees. They're not saying, this property at 123 Main Street in Grapevine, Texas, blah, blah, blah. They're going by, Pam Cleary, Roger Pascal, yes, it's a document number, and they're going by, blocks and lots and subdivisions and counties. That's the reason why it's set that way. And remember that your school taxes, you may, especially up by the Alliance Center, you may have property in Tarrant County, but you're paying Denton County school taxes. So there's a lot to it, and you need to make sure that you are doing your research on before you just go down to the courthouse.
Yep. Perfect.
Great information. All right. Next question came from, Renato asks, what happens if I buy a tax sale property for less than than the taxes that are owed on it? Doug and Renee, you want to take that one?
Well, they were just saying that if they've only figured the taxes up through 2020 2020 and we're now in 2022, you're going to pay the taxes up through 2020, but 2021's taxes will be due also. So yes, you will be held liable to pay those as well.
Well, you got to pay the taxes. And that also goes with what they redeem it for. So it's not like you're losing anything when you accept, I mean, of course, the money, but generally we're getting a pretty good deal. And you can check to see. So you really have to do your research.
Right.
When you find the file date, I mean, you can almost every county in Texas, you can go online, you can determine about how much they owe in taxes. Of course, the attorneys are going to put attorney fees on there, but that's going to be pretty good, pretty close to the starting bid. The starting bid, it goes up from there, but then you're going to have to pay those taxes that are left. If the filing date was 2019, you got to do 2020, 2021, and at the end of 2022, you're going to pay those also.
Right.
And then you're going to have to pay them from then on. So you want to, that's what we do is we pay taxes. Right?
That's right.
So
we do pay taxes.
Yeah, you have to pay the taxes. So you have to figure that into your numbers. That has to be part of your computations. So
Okay, fair enough. All right. I think that's all that we had, all the questions that we have tonight. So I think we should move on to announcements.
no?
Dennis, do you have anything?
Well, why don't you tell them about the getaway?
Okay. Mastermindgetaway.com. If you guys want to go on a trip with all of us, plus however many other people end up going, we never know how many are going to be going until we know how many we sell. So we have so many rooms, and if we have to go get more rooms, and then we'll eventually run out of rooms. So make sure if you want to go with us that you get signed up early. We are going September the 21st to the 25th to Dreams Jade in Cancun. And it's 5-star, right, Dennis?
Yeah, it's Now Jade.
Now Jade Sapphire.
Okay.
Right.
We are going to be going to that, and the cost of that trip is $1,195, and that's for 2 adults and up to 2 children 12 years of age and younger. Now, guys, when I tell y'all that this is all inclusive, this is all inclusive. All your meals, your drinks, your alcoholic beverages, just the enjoyment of the resort itself. When I get to these resorts, I can put my credit cards in the safe and I don't have to get them out again, unless you're going to go to on an excursion or something. Right. And last year we had over 60 people go with us to Cancun, and it was a phenomenal trip. It is absolutely the best way to network and mastermind and talk to people in a relaxing environment. You don't leave these events exhausted. You truly do leave feeling refreshed and excited. Chatting with someone poolside or over breakfast or over lunch, dinner, about what they're doing, it really can give you ideas of things maybe you've never thought about before. So if you want to go, make sure that you go to mastermindgetaway.com and purchase your tickets. And it does not include your airfare or your transportation from the airport to the resort. And a lot of us get together and kind of ride together because they don't have shuttles anymore because of COVID. But there's no telling what will happen in September. So maybe they'll be open again. Everybody went last year except for Eric, and Eric's already got his signed. You've already got signed up, right, Eric?
I have my airfare. I need to get to mastermindgetaway.com and buy my reservation there. But I am going to Cancun on that day.
That's right. And we are looking forward to everyone being there again. So if you want to go, make sure you get your tickets.
Yes, and review the experts, because we're going to have some real estate experts there with us, and each one of them have a specialty. You'll learn a lot. You get to rub shoulders, have meals with them. So check out mastermindgetaway.com and review our experts.
Absolutely. I talked with Randy yesterday. He is super excited to be going. So, Randy Hughes, that is. Anything else, Dennis, that you wanted to announce?
Well, you can always check Real Impact Events about upcoming events. We mentioned we're going to have Alan Cowgill. That'll be we'll be putting that up soon. So make a note of that website. And you don't want to miss those big events. If you missed the Pete Fortunato event, that's very sad because it was really, really good. Everybody that I talked with afterwards were very impressed. And I know you will be on all of them because we take a lot of pains to bring in the right people, the people who could help the most. So be sure to check those out and come to those events.
All right, great. And I just threw those up in the chat, realimpactevents.com for all the upcoming meetings, and mastermindgetaway.com for the Mastermind Getaway trip.
All right.
All right. Okay, Roger, you got anything else you want to add?
No, I think we're good. I'm got a tenant trying to not pay me rent, but that's okay. But other than that, we're excited that y'all were on here today. We always try to keep this out under an hour. We had a great showing today. I appreciate everybody for being on here. We have some big stuff happening as y'all were just listening to Karen and Dennis talk about our getaway, Alan Cowgill, working with Tal and David in Oklahoma City to do a Subject 2 Saturday class. So we're looking at that May or June or something like that, right, Tal?
Yes. I'm thinking that you may come to speak at my meeting in May, and then we do the class after that meeting.
All right. We need to talk about that tomorrow and get that date set up, and we'll have that out there. Dennis.
Yes.
Don't forget, we got some new meetings coming. You might want to mention the dates of those and who's going to be speaking because, you know, it's the premier event. You want to be there.
All right. Eric started out, and then Tim, you're going to tell us about Decatur.
I'll do it. Starting out April 12th, this person right here is going to be speaking at my premier event, April 12th, main event, Grand Prairie on 161 and Warrior Trail. 6:30 networking, 7 p.m. the festivities start, and be there for the inaugural event.
I'm super excited about it. Looking forward to it.
It's going to be great.
It's going to be great.
Over to you, Tim.
Okay, on Monday, April 18th at 6 p.m., we're going to have grand opening of Impact Denton, Texas, and the topic is going to be have kind of co-lead with me and Roger. He's going to be telling about the what Real Impact is and what we do, and then I'll be teaching Dennis's 7 secrets of success in real estate investing. So it's going to be Monday, April 18th at 6 o'clock at the Keller Williams Denton Training Room on Lillian Miller Parkway.
Awesome. Looking forward to that one as well.
I'm excited about that. So we have lots of stuff happening right now. So get on meetup.com, look for the meetings. Pam.
You're on mute, Pam.
You're on mute.
You're muted, sweetie.
She's talking away.
Okay.
There you go.
Sanchez, April the 19th, the third Tuesday, Matt Sanchez is coming into town. Or not into town. He's coming to talk to the group. He's going to talk about rental properties and creative financing to acquire those rentals.
All right.
So networking at 6:30.
Go to meetup.com. All the meetings should be on there. So make sure the meetup, you go to meetup.com. Say you're going to be there and you'll get email notices. Oh, we got somebody yelling. So there you go. So sounds like my doorbell that didn't work a while ago with my tenant showing up. So, that was I was texting Linda Jean going, they're at the door, don't let them leave. That's her excuse. Nobody came to the door. I'm not gonna leave my check. So there you go. I'll see if I can sell that house to Dennis. So he's got some great stories out there about tenants. He has one where a tenant robbed a bank so he could pay tenants his rent. So there you go. So,
Well,
right, so thanks everybody for being on here. We'll be back next week, Sunday night, 7:00 Central Time. Just come on, join us. We appreciate it. Thanks everybody. Bye.
See everybody next week.
Bye.
Good night.